Hello and welcome. We are the UN Diplomats. My name is Mackenzie Strait.
I'm Harper Arian.
I'm Megan Bailey. I'm Sydney Ruff.
And we are here to address the conflicts of the Versailles Treaty. There are many issues that were brought about, and that's what we are going to be discussing today. We are here, and our whole concept is we're striving for world peace and stability.
So, continuing, the three main causes of World War I were nationalism, competition, and alliances. Nationalism has been huge for every country in the 1900s since we can remember. Everyone thought that they were superior to one another and always was like, oh no, my country's way better than yours. Look what we have. Look at the new technology, the new advancements we have been making for the past 50 on years. And to expand even further into each ethnic group, they all wanted to be their own nation, to be their own country, because they thought that they had enough power and enough strength and will to be their own country without being controlled or ruled by another. So every nation wanted to conquer the inferior and had this ongoing rivalry with one another, trying to say no. Great Britain had a huge naval fleet, so then no one else really could, and Germany tried to get a good one, and everyone was just trying to one up each other and try to get a higher standing on higher step than everyone else had. And that made alliances come to be, because if I'm at threat of being attacked, or another nation is, I'm going to be like, hey, I'll protect you if you protect me. So they kind of just had that mutual feeling of I'll protect you, you protect me, and each alliance made it more difficult for the other countries, just adding onto the competition, the nationalism, and all the alliances.
So the next topic that we're going to be talking about is the agreements that they made in the Versailles Treaty. We're only going to be going over a few of these, but they're the main points. The first one is blame. Germany had to admit to full responsibility of starting the war. This was in clause 231, and it was known as the infamous war clause. The whole point of them being blamed for the war was because they attacked a neutral country that hadn't started. So the second one that we're going to be talking about is cost. There was 186 billion in direct cost and 151 billion in indirect cost. They spent a lot of this on weapons, economic mobilization, labor, industry, and agriculture to further progress the war. Germany's military, they had to pay $6,600 million. It was decided that Germany would have to pay this because of the destruction that they caused on France and Belgium. The second one, or the third one that we'll be talking about, is colonies. The UN decided to take away Germany's control of their colonies, their overseas colonies, and they pretty much took these away to take away their power that they had, so that they wouldn't have any more advantages to create any more war. And then the last one was SAR, and the main reason they took away this was because it had major coal industries, and it had a lot of natural resources, which they did not want Germany to have.
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be talking about is how the Versailles Treaty failed to recognize and address these long-term causes, which included the nationalism, competition, and alliances. The first reason why I didn't address it was because this wasn't a peace treaty. It was just out of aggression towards other countries. They had just gotten out of war, and so this was gonna keep the peace, I guess, for a while within these countries. And it didn't really like address anything. So how could it like create further peace throughout in the future? The next reason why this didn't address the long-term causes was because this Versailles Treaty created a League of Nations which didn't involve the key countries in this nation or league, including Germany. And this really frustrated the Germans because you can't have a treaty without including everyone that's involved. And the third reason why this Versailles Treaty failed is because they put all of the entire blame onto Germany. Germany had to take the fault for everything that happened. They lost land. They had to demilitarize their whole country, weakening their military, and it just like didn't. They just couldn't be happy with like their stand in the world, and so that kind of led to future events in our history.
So I'm going to be talking about what the treaty should have consisted of to prevent further aggression between the European countries. The blame should not have only been placed on Germany, but it should have been placed on Serbia for assassinating the Archduke Franz, and it should have been placed on Austria-Hungary for for attempting to take over Serbia after the assassination. Russia for standing behind Serbia, and Germany for pushing Austria-Hungary to take over Serbia, because that led to Russia and Germany starting war, which brought France into it, which started the whole war. The cost of the war should have been split between Germany, Russia, Austria-Hungary, Serbia, and that's about it for who the cost should have been split between, because they all had a huge part in the war and how it started. And all of those countries should have to reduce their army because they're very aggressive against one another, and if we reduce their army, the odds of them fighting against each other again is pretty small. The colonies should have been left alone because they were taken over by Germany, and Germany should have to give the colonies back to the people because it's their country, and Germany doesn't deserve any more land because it was won in the war. So they should be given their protection as a colony, and they can do what they want with their land. Rhineland should be able to be kept by Germany because it was originally their land, and so we're not going to take away land that was theirs and give it to someone else because that could just cause more war. Alsace and Lorraine should have been given back to France because that was originally France's land, and once again, Germany should not be rewarded with keeping land that they won during a war. Saar should have been split up between everyone because they have excellent coal, and it would only be fair if everyone got a piece of that, and that would most likely reduce fighting over the land because everyone would have their own share of the good coal. Poland should have been given their independence because they are a country, and they should have just been left alone to do their own thing and be given protection so no one can take them over again. Danzig should be split between Germany and Poland so the people that are German can go to Germany and the people who are Polish can go to Poland. Finland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia should have been given their freedom and their protections because they're their own land and they have their own people, and so they should have just been left alone to do their own thing and be given their protection so no other countries try and take over their land again. And lastly, Czechoslovakia should be given their freedom as well and their protection because once again they are their own land, and if they decided they wanted to join another country or such, they could do so, but it's not any other people's place to take over their land and make them change their ways. And that is how the treaty should have been made. So, along with what Megan just perfectly described, each solution that we have come up with to better help the future of war or conflicts solves each of the three problems, the main causes of World War I, which were nationalism, competition, and alliances. So the fact that Germany, Russia, Austria-Hungary, Serbia, their armies will all be reduced, and the colonies will be left alone, and each Saar will be split up along with all of those that she had mentioned, will just help reduce the future problems, future disagreements between countries and nations, and really they should have just thought about it more and kind of like looked into it with more of a level head instead of like, oh no, like we still need to be a little bit ahead, or it's all their fault, or playing the blame game or anything.
Which was all because of the big three. They were a lot of like main decision makers throughout the treaty, which really influenced how World War II came to happen.
Except for maybe the United States, because they kind of just left this up to the European countries, saying it's your own deal. You guys were in this war between all your land, and they kind of just backed out and let them do their own
Because
thing.
they didn't want to join the UN.
Exactly. And so that is how we believe the Versailles Treaty should have been handled as a League of Nations, and that's all we have for now. See you next time.
Adios.
See ya.
Sayonara.
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 Oh my